another edition of Just Another Year Chicago College Football Edition. It's back, baby. My name is Tony Sapita. I'm joined by my co-host and gambling and sports betting expert, London Beth. So we discuss the upcoming college football season. Week one starts this weekend. So London and I are here to give you some predictions for the season, kind of talk about some storylines, as well as our picks for week one. We're going to be trying to do this, I think, every Thursday, Friday, every week. So keep coming back. Tune in for that. But before we begin, we'd like to say a few words about our sponsor, Stupid Car Tray.
Tired of your pizza topping sliding, office coffee distracting you while driving, grease and other stains getting on your seat, or you're just enjoying a game on the couch and don't want to lean over? Look no further than the Stupid Car Tray. Proudly USA made, Stupid Car Tray makes your passenger seat or couch a level surface for all transportation and couch potato needs. Visit www.stupidcartray.com and use discount code J16 to get 16% off your entire order. Link in the description.
Listen, Tony, I got a stupid card tray. You got a stupid card tray. Honestly, after that win by Illinois, Brett Bielema should probably go get a stupid card tray. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some college football. We're back, baby. I know me and you, and, we just absolutely love to bet on college, sports. And honestly, college football is our number one thing. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. The season's here. The fans are back. We're ready.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think betting college football might be the basis of our friendship, I think, going back. So this is what we were born to do. This is what we were made to do. So first we'll talk about some things for the upcoming season. Just straight off the top, everyone thinks Alabama's going to win it all. They probably are. I changed my prediction a little because I didn't want to go chalk. And I do think there's a chance they lose. But before I get to my predictions on that, Spencer Rattler, the Oklahoma quarterback, stinks. He's the leader, the Heisman odds and all that. Everyone's, oh, here comes Oklahoma. No, he's not Baker Mayfield. He's not, Kyler Murray. He's none of these guys that have done well at Oklahoma in the past. He's bad. Watch college football. You'll know he's bad. Notre Dame, my boys, Notre Dame. They have the hardest schedule in the country. That's just a fact right now. Obviously, if things change, then I won't update them. I'll just keep saying this. They play 4 preseason ranked teams. So between weeks 4 and 8. So at Lambeau Field, which is going to be a really cool game. We'll do a show for that for sure against number 12 Wisconsin, the Wisco Badgers. And then they play number 8 Cincinnati, number 15 USC, and number 10 UNC, University of North Carolina. So they also play Toledo, who I think will be ranked at the end of the year. So we'll see where, if any of that's true. If not, again, I won't update it as we go along because the Irish are still going to make the top 4, and so will Georgia, OSU, Ohio State, and Clemson. Those are my takes. It's going to be Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, Notre Dame 4. Notre Dame is going to destroy Georgia, obviously. Totally not biased. Ohio State's going to roll Clemson again. Again, right? They beat them last year? Yeah. So then it's going to be what? Ohio State, Notre Dame in the championship. Obviously, Ohio State's going to win, but I'm going to pick Notre Dame. London, do you have a Final Four prediction, or you want to get into some picks?
No, the main thing I just want to talk about, first off, disclaimer to all of our viewers out there. We love Notre Dame. Tony loves Notre Dame to a whole nother level. Okay. When he talked about how our friendship was pretty much based on college football betting, I think we literally bet like $75 or like when we both were dating girls in college or whatever. We bet like a dinner that we would pay for the other person's dinner to take the lady out on the Miami Hurricanes versus Notre Dame Irish, and Miami national television blew them out. It was absolutely beautiful. So Tony got to pay for dinner. And I think to this day, since, he loves to be stingy with his money, to this day, I think that hurt him taking on that bill. So I like your top 4. I really do. I think Georgia has a lot riding on them this season. I think they have a ton of pressure, and I think Alabama, is kind of reloading. So, in the SEC, this is a time when a team like Georgia, a team like Clemson with DJ, having that quarterback step right up who got time when Trevor Lawrence last year was out. I think those two teams, I think Ohio State's kind of retooling too, kind of like Alabama. Justin Fields just left. They're bringing in, I think, a true freshman at QB or a redshirt freshman, something like that. So I think both of those programs are kind of retooling. They kind of been the dominant ones the past couple of years. And I think Clemson and Georgia are really looking to try to put themselves back on that pedestal, to which they've kind of fallen off a little bit, especially last year. So I agree with you. I'm not going to say I agree with the Notre Dame take, but I think they're going to be a really good team. I love they have a safety Hamilton on their team, who's going to be, he's a preseason All-American. I think they're going to have a really great defense. So if I was going to pick one right now for my top four, I'm going to go. I'm gonna go Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, and Miami. I'm gonna throw Miami in there just as a weird dark horse, and I think Miami's gonna upset. And we're gonna get into this thing. I think Miami's gonna have a huge upset this season, but we'll get into it in a little bit. So, what do you think about those?
I think that it makes sense. The winner of Georgia, Alabama, and SEC championship, they're both undefeated. They'll probably both make it in, even if one, loses to the other. Obviously, they'll have to. That's how football works. But I think if one of those teams picks up a loss along the way, like if Georgia loses to Clemson, coming up here, or Alabama loses to Miami and then loses in the SEC championship, that's why. Look, I don't have both in. I don't think you have both in, right? So. That's what's interesting to me. I just think Georgia will beat them in that SEC championship game. That's kind of where I came from. So I don't hate it at all, except for maybe the Miami pick. But other than that, I think we're good to go. So let's talk about this weekend's games. You mentioned a little upset brewing potentially in college football. You want to get into that?
Yeah. So, Tony, I want to go over just the major games that are going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, honestly, we have a game Monday too. I think it's like Ole Miss against Louisville, which is really awesome. I mean, Ole Miss, you got Lane Kiffin, you got the whole thing. So there's a whole slew of games. I'm super jacked about it. I know you are, especially because the sports bet, and we're really going to get into it. So to start off, the major games that are going to happen on Thursday, I know Coastal Carolina, who's actually ranked, they're like 22nd in the nation. Great for them. I know they had a really good season last year, and kind of put themselves on the map. I think they're a little bit of a, one hit wonder kind of like spark, and they're going to go away. They're taking on the Citadel.
Citadel, yep.
The Citadel. So they're taking on the Citadel. Coastal Carolina is favored by 33 points. I don't expect that game to be anywhere near. So just to rattle off the rest of them, number 24 Utah is taking on Webster State. Ohio State has the premier game on Fox tonight against Minnesota. That'll be a really awesome one. Arizona State with Herb Edwards is still the head coach there, right? They're taking on Southern Utah. Let's see here. Friday, then we have North Carolina against Virginia Tech. Saturday, we have Oklahoma, Tulane. The big game, the huge game Saturday morning is going to be Penn State against Wisconsin. I think that's going to be a really awesome game. Penn State's kind of been bleh lately. I mean, since like Saquon Barkley and all those guys kind of left, I mean, you can agree with me or you can disagree with me, Tony. I mean, Penn State's kind of been getting steamrolled by everybody in the Big Ten. I'm pretty sure last year they lost to like they lost to Indiana because Indiana had a great team, but I think they lost to like Rutgers or something. Wisconsin, we'll kind of see what Graham Mertz and all of them do, but I'm very excited for that game. That'll be a really, really great start to the season. Oregon's going to take, or number 11, Oregon's going to take on Fresno State. The afternoon game, which is the really, really big one, which I think, and I'm just going to say it right here, I think is going to be an upset, is Alabama against the Miami Hurricanes. You got King coming in, who's returning for, Miami. Really, really awesome game. You got number 8, Cincinnati against Miami, Ohio. I know you love this game, and I know this is your big game, and you're probably going to watch it over the Alabama-Miami game. Like the rest of the nation's going to watch Alabama. Tony Cepeda is going to be watching this game, and that's another 17 Indiana against number 18 Iowa. Tony, give me a little bit of a tidbit about that game because I know that's your game.
Yeah, so I'm a little biased in this game as well. My brother goes to the University of Iowa, so I just in general I think Iowa's going to roll them. I think that Iowa just plays that hard-nosed football. I think Indiana's good, and I think they will continue to do well. I just think that the style that Iowa plays, I think will kind of smother Indiana into the point where, it's going to be a very close game, and it's going to be probably some kind of bad football at points because it's just a rock fight in the Big Ten. But I do think that'll be, honestly, I think it'll be a more exciting game than Alabama Miami because Alabama's just gonna roll.
All right. So going on to the rest of the afternoon games, we got Northern Iowa against Iowa State. Iowa State's ranked 7th in the nation. That is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen Iowa State that high. Good for them. I'm very excited. Then we got Texas, who's number 21 in the nation, against Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajuns. They're number 23 in the nation. Again, kind of crazy. I know Steve Spurrier is taking over for Texas. We'll see what he can do there. USC against San Jose State. USC is ranked 15th. The big game at night, is going to be the Clemson, third ranked with DJ taking over against Georgia and who's 5th ranked. And I know you alluded to it a little bit, Tony. I mean, this is a big game for both of them. A big game for the SEC because North Carolina, Miami. I mean, there's a couple of good teams that are in the ACC. Trevor Lawrence is gone, and Clemson's got to show that they can kind of retool. Georgia, they got to get out of this funk. I mean, and I know you can agree with me. They got to get out of the shadow of Alabama and all these other programs of just getting, having a good team, having so much potential, and then squandering it and just losing stupid games. And then we got Florida, who's ranked 13th against, Florida Atlantic. Texas A&M was ranked 6th. Great for Jimbo Fisher. Really excited to see that he's, really rebuilt that program against Penn State. And then, of course, LSU, who's ranked 16 against UCLA. And who's their head coach? Oh, Chip Kelly. Yeah, the old Chip Kelly's their head coach. And I know they won their first game. And then the Sunday, the primetime game, the 6:30, probably on NBC. And I know, Tony, you are going to have enough beer to put you into a good place where even if they lose, they are still going to win in your eyes. It is the 9th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish against, I even hate this team, the unranked Florida State Seminoles. And I know you're super jacked about that. Awesome. They get a primetime game right off the bat. So going over all those teams we just went through, let's kind of go into picks. What are you looking at? What are the numbers showing you? What are the main games a couple of the main games, give me like 2 or 3 that you think are going to be really, really awesome coming this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah. So you obviously mentioned it before, that Indiana-Iowa game, that truly is going to be my favorite game to watch. I just love Big Ten football. I assume we have a lot of fans out here that are, Big Ten country, baby. So that's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a hard-fought football game, and it's going to be just everything we love. It's going to be big medial linemen from, corn-fed O-linemen just knocking heads with the big, meaty defensive linemen trying to run zone run schemes. And that's all it's going to be. And it's going to be like 17-13, and Iowa's going to cover that -3.5, which is going to be important. So that's what I have personally. That's my first pick. And then you touched on Georgia Clemson as well. It's almost weird that we get like a 3-5 matchup in week 1. That's insane. Yeah. Like, that's awesome. That's what you dream about, instead of, Alabama playing Savannah State, to start the year,
blowing them out by 50 points.
Absolutely. Yeah. So speaking of that game, I think Georgia wins that +3. I think that's one of their big wins going, on their resume going into the SEC championship against Alabama at the end of the year.
I think alert. Wee.
Yep. Right? Isn't that? Yeah. Because Clemson's 3, right? Yeah. I should have looked at the rankings beforehand. There we go. So that's my 2, the big games. Those are my picks on those. My best pick, though, I think my best bet is Texas Tech, Houston over 64.5, 64, whatever. I would take it up to 66, probably 65.5. The total actually opened at like over 72, I believe it was, and it's come down. These teams just score. They're bad and they score. That's all. I mean, they're not bad. Houston's good, but they're not a true Power 5 team or anything. So they score points, and that's all you can ask for. One other sneaky one I kind of like is Tulane +31.5 against Oklahoma. This game got moved out of Tulane to Oklahoma because of the hurricane. I think it's obviously it's very sad. I think they're going to do a lot, try to, kind of win for their school, win for kind of rally around each other. And I think it's going to be kind of just a cool game in general if they can maybe put a scare into Oklahoma. What do you think, London?
Yeah, my picks, I'm going to go with a few other ones. I love all yours. And by the way, just a disclaimer, we didn't talk about the Texas Tech or any of the non-ranked games, Texas Tech against Houston, any of the non-ranked games, because again, they're just not primetime games. They're not going to get a ton of attention, but I know Tony's always digging in there, looking for the best value for our viewers. So my first one is going to be the Texas against Louisiana Ragin' Cajun. Texas is favored by like 8 points. I would hammer that 8 point. I just really think Steve Sarkisian is coming in. He was, Alabama offensive coordinator. Texas still gets very good recruits and is going to have a lot more talent than Louisiana Raging Cajuns are. Unfortunately, I just, love Louisiana. I went there, love the area. But again, Texas is just going to have more talent. And I really, really think that Steve Sarkisian, if he wants to cement himself as not just an offensive coordinator, but now as a solidified head coach in college football at a major program that's about to move to the SEC and stay there for that move, he's got to win these games. He's got to win these games. So I'm taking the -8 there. My next pick is actually going to be the late night game on Saturday. It's the 7:30 game. It's 16th ranked LSU against UCLA at Pasadena, California. LSU is favored by 3 points. I'm hammering the +3 for UCLA. I really, really enjoyed them in their first game. I think LSU, again, is kind of in that really bad retool right now where, they just, since, Joe Burrow and all those guys kind of left, they're just in a huge reflux right now. I think UCLA is actually starting, after what I saw against them against Hawaii, I think they're starting to get their legs a little bit. I think they can be a sneaky, bottom 25 ranked team at the end of this season. Chip Kelly knows what he's doing. He's gonna get good recruits out of California. Since USC isn't what it was anymore. So I'm hammering the +3 for UCLA. My last one, and I'm doing this for you, Tony, because I love you. All right. I'm taking the -7.5 for Notre Dame. Okay. Screw Florida State Seminoles. Everybody hates them, including myself. I want Notre Dame to steamroll them by 30+ points and embarrass them on NBC national television Sunday night. So honestly, even if I'm wrong and they only win by 6 points or a field goal or whatever, it's still a win. I'm cool with that. But I'm putting $20 on that game, and I'm just going to watch Notre Dame steamroll through Florida State because no one loves Florida State. Jameis Winston, all that whole team, they can all just piss off.
I completely agree. Add that to my card. Everyone out there, whoever's keeping track at home, I'm adding Notre Dame -7.5. I also think because Notre Dame gets the the Notre Dame bump on the in the spread kind of. I think Florida State gets that still, but only not because it's the alumni are gonna dole out a ton of money on the betting. I think it's because it's they used to be so good. It's Florida State. They're gonna be good again. I just don't think they're good yet, and it's okay. They're just not. So I completely agree with you that Notre Dame's gonna roll and go Irish. So with that. Sorry about that. We'll wrap things up here. So that'll do it for just another episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita. Thank you to my co-host and betting expert, London Beth, for joining me again today. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you next time.